Good morning, YouTube family. Good afternoon and good evening, wherever you might be. Welcome to Happy Crappy Hour. This is Escape from Crazytown, and I am looking forward to our conversation today. There is always a lot to talk about when you talk about narcissistic abuse, and it's a crazy town that follows you around even when you're not in it anymore because sometimes you carry it inside of your head. So, this is why I do this channel. I want to make sure that we get our heads out of crazy town so that we can live a great, wonderful, beautiful life. Hey, Rissa Riss. Or, yes, good to see you here. Glad to have you on. Welcome, everybody. And as you hop on, I want to talk about our happies and crappies, which are things that we learn about and we um, our happies we want to keep on doing, right? Things that are good, that are improving our lives. And then our crappies are things that went wrong this week. And those are things we can learn from and learn from each other, right? So that we don't continually repeat those. So, welcome, you guys. I have a commercial playing for some reason here. So I'm going to go through that. Oh, I see what's going on. Okay. So, you guys, I want to talk today about whether the new supply is actually addicted or in love with the narcissist. And there's a difference of being addicted or actually in love. And some people say they are in love with love, which, by the way, if anybody ever says that to you, run the other direction. Because someone who is in love with love doesn't fall in love with the person. They fall in love with the feeling they get from being in love. And that is a recipe for disaster in a relationship. That person then is never actually present in the relationship. They're just there to reap the benefits of the emotional highs and the excitement, the fun, the passion, but they're not even there for the other person. They're there just to take from the other person all of these things. And this kind of leads us into the addiction versus love conundrum. What is really going on with the narcissist? And if you have had a relationship, a romantic relationship with a narcissist, you will understand this point. You will have felt this addiction or near addiction, right? You have felt that way when you try to detach from the narcissist. It's almost like what an addict goes through in withdrawal. You know, your body seems to crave the narcissist. Your mind cannot get away from the narcissist. Your desire, it's just targeted and focused on the thing you're addicted to. So we're going to hop into that in a little bit here. I want to catch up and say hi to you guys. Hey, John, good to see you. And John has another update for us. Got another phone call yesterday. Ooh, John, she's never going to let go of you. You know that, right? My question to you is, do you want her to let go of you? Are you working at moving on or moving into another stage of your life? If you're not ready, I understand that, completely understand that. Many of us, as we come out of a relationship or as we're still attached to the other person, we're not ready to let go. And when you're not ready to let go, I get it. So, you have to be prepared to let go. You have to count the costs there. It's going to be hard. It's going to be devastating. It's going to be excruciating at times because you feel like an addict does when they've let go of their addiction, let go of their drug, right? Your body just feels like it's going to collapse, or the anxiety level is incredible because you want this quick fix. And you think that being around the narcissist or having the narcissist back in your life, it's sort of weird, but it sort of gives you that shot. It's sickening, but it gives you that calming, okay, this is familiar, this is comfortable. Your body starts to react that way too and fools you into thinking this is a safe place to be. So we need to break this addiction. Um, but until you're ready, and ready means you start laying some foundation away from the narcissist. It doesn't have to be cold turkey, but it has to start with action in another direction. Okay. So we're going to talk a little bit about that as well. So thank you for keeping us updated and helping us to walk through this with you, or letting us walk through this with you. Philip Capel, good to see you. Yep. Yeah. John says, letting go is my biggest problem right now. And John, let me ask you this. How about you introduce something else into your life that can start taking the place of the narcissist? Like friendships or activities or hobbies, interests, something else. But it has to include um, relationship. We are all built for relationship. So when you cut one relationship out, or your main relationship out of your life, you're going to need to build a baby relationship, right? Not that it takes the place of, but we need some relationship in our life. Otherwise, we're going to feel starved. And if we feel starved, we're going to go and find any junk food to fill that space. And that junk food then becomes the narcissist. And we're going to allow the narcissist back into our life and into our heart or into our home because we're feeling starved. So don't starve yourself. Find other people who can feed the relationship side that you need. Okay, you guys, I'm going to get into this a little bit. Crystal Jean, good to see you, says, so true, Escape. Thought he was my safe place. Yeah, right? Our mind tricks us, and it's not just our mind, by the way. I'm going to get into this a little bit today. It's our hormones. So the narcissist, even the thought of the narcissist, if we are still craving the narcissist, will create hormones in our body that will make us desire them even more, even though we know they're bad for us, even though we know they've cheated, even though we know they've put us last always, right? They have neglected us. They have abused in some cases, verbally or possibly physically. They are so bad for you, and yet you still crave them because your body or your mind has decided or categorized the narcissist as a comfortable, familiar, and now safe place. And when you start to feel comfortable, familiar, or safe, your body starts to produce these hormones that then exacerbate those emotions, those feelings, and verifies or validates those feelings, right? So you're thinking, this is safe, this is good, this is romantic, this is passion. And when your mind is thinking that, and how do you say this? Kind of tagging the narcissist with these labels, your body, when you start to think about the narcissist, your body is going to start producing these hormones. And you guys, hormones are very deceptive because we're going to rely on that. It feels like it's our gut instinct, right? So we're going to rely on what our hormones tell us because that's how our body is feeling. What we have to do, and this is why some people do go full on no contact. Some people do just go cold turkey and break away from the narcissist. And they go through that withdrawal, right? For a week, maybe 2 weeks, maybe 2 months. They go through this very, very harsh withdrawal. But then the crazy thing is when they walk outside and they feel the sun on their face, it's like you're clean, you're done. There's no more reaction to the narcissist. And when you think about the narcissist and you're out in the sunlight, now you're able to see the reality better. You're able to go, oh, your body's not going to react. Your body's not going to produce these hormones because your body's already producing those hormones in reality, in this place now where you're in And I love to use the sun because that is such a wake up call for me. When I go out in the sun and I feel the warmth of the sun, it wakes me up. It wakes my emotions up. It wakes up my senses, right? And once your senses are awake by something that's real, when something fake comes along, like your story with the narcissist, right? Your love affair with the narcissist, when that comes into your mind, it doesn't wake you up. In fact, you're able to see from an awake position that that was just a dream. I hope you're following along with me. So, oh yeah, yeah. When you stop hearing from them, it's almost worse than all the drama. I'm dealing with that now. I should be ecstatic, but it's causing anxiety in me. Yes, that does happen. And you guys, the deal with this and how do you then deal with that is that you have to build, and how do I put this? You have to build your life on reality. You have to build on real people, real relationships. You have to build it. And if you right now cannot be, because you can't have somebody around all the time, and when you have to be by yourself, you have to have a way of pulling yourself back into reality, or at least create a comfort and safe place, right? A comfortable and safe place for yourself that you are in control of, that you create, right? It could be a reading nook, right? It could be a place in your house or even a park, a spot in a park that you love to go to. That can be your new safe place. So you have to create a real place where you can go to and sit in and feel happy and comfortable and safe. Now, if you don't have that, your mind is going to try to find it in another way. Your mind is going to go back into history, go back into your past, and try to find a time when you felt safe, when you felt comfortable, when you felt happy. And what your mind might end up doing is selecting a memory with the narcissist and filling that as if that is where you should go to feel comfortable and safe. I hope you're following me. I hope that's making sense to you guys. So instead of filling yourself with a fantasy to make up for your need of a safe place, create a real safe place where you can go, where you can be, where you can grab a book, where you can make a phone call to your best friend, right? Where you can call a family member, or where you can spend time with your children doing something fun and rewarding. And let me tell you something. Another thing that's fantastic, and it's so funny that one of the hormones that gets produced in our bodies is called the hug hormone. And the reason for this hug hormone, which I think is oxytocin, the reason the hug hormone is so powerful is because we're built for a relationship, you guys. And the cool thing, though, is that we can produce that hug hormone by not, it doesn't even have to be hugging a real person. It could be hugging your dog, it could be hugging a pet, and those hormones will come. And by the way, when you have those hormones, you feel comfortable. It's actually you're feeling comfortable with yourself. This is when people say learn to love yourself. It's your ability to produce these hormones for yourself when you need them, right? To handle stress, because you don't want to rely on somebody else to produce or elicit those hormones in you. You want to be able to create these hormones when you need it, right? When you're in stressful situations, you're going to need serotonin. When you're feeling low or sad or guilty or ashamed, right? And we'll talk about guilt and shame later, but when you're feeling these ways, you tend to crawl into yourself and implode and squeeze down, and you start to feel even worse and worse and worse. And the hormone that helps you release from that, though, are these hug hormones. So when you're feeling shame, when you're feeling depressed, or when you're feeling, I don't know, I guess you can say guilt, but it's when you're beating yourself up, right? You're so mad at yourself. I can't believe I messed up again. I did that again. That's the kind of guilt I'm talking about. When you're feeling that way, and then you go to hug your dog, you guys, you release the good hormones. that then help you deal with the bad emotions. And then you come out positive, you come out stronger, you come out more centered. And that is part, and actually a big part, of laying the foundation for loving yourself. Oh my gosh, you guys, this is a really good topic today because I want you guys to learn how to get these good hormones going without needing the narcissist to, how do you, is it, I want to use the word fake, but that's not it, fraudulently or, you know, oh, I can't think of the word, but producing illegitimately, illegitimately producing the hormones. Like it's not really, it's not based, your hormones, hormonal reaction to the narcissist is not real. It's not based on reality. It's based on your figment of your imagination, right? It's based on what you thought was real. It's based on a fantasy. So you don't want that. You want these hormones to be brought about by something that's real. So we're going to work on that today. You guys, how are things going? Let me see. I am blessed. Good morning to you. Oh, Saskatchewan. Is that in Canada? Saskatchewan. Yeah. Yeah, John says, when her name popped up, I was confused and excited at the same time. Exactly, you guys. And this is why the new supply stays with the narcissist, by the way. It is not love, okay? Some people might think that, yes, they're in love with the narcissist. They love the narcissist. They're willing to sacrifice so much for the narcissist. So it must be love, right? So that's what they're thinking. It must be love. But it turns out it's not really love, it's an addiction. It's really that they have produced these hormones that we were just talking about, the love hormone, the hug hormone, the comfort hormone, the safe hormone, right? It makes these are the hormones that are produced when you're feeling comfort, safe, and trust. So when the narcissist comes into your mind, or you see the narcissist, or like John was saying, that the name pops up on the phone, you get excited. You get excited because your body is reacting and producing these hormones again in reaction to the narcissist. Now, we need to change that. And the way you change that, you guys, I have said this again and again and again, and I sound like a broken record, but do it, do it, do it. Write the list of cons, no pros, just cons of the narcissist and what they had done to you. We all know what the pros are, okay? The pros are going to lead us to believe a lie, okay? The pros are going to make us fall back into a fantasy world. So we don't want that. We know that the pros were a fantasy. Some of it might have felt real. Some of it might have actually happened, like maybe they did remember you on your birthday once. You know, maybe they did treat you really well momentarily, but the deal is that was just them playing a role. That was just them acting out a character that they knew will get what they want, right? To get what they want. So we have to hook onto the reality. And then the reality is the con, is the list of cons, all the bad things that they had done. Make that list so that when the phone call comes, when the text comes, and you see their name pop up, whip out that list and look at it. Your body, this is how you retrain your body to then produce the right hormones to accurately respond to the narcissist. You do not want your body to continue to respond to the fake stuff, right? You don't want your body to respond to the lies of the narcissist. And if your body is responding to lies, it's going to fool you into thinking this person is safe. It's going to fool you into thinking this person is trustworthy, or that you actually are desiring this person, when actually you're addicted. It's an addiction response, you guys, not a love response. So what's happening with the new supply? I'm going to get into that in a couple of seconds here. I'm going to have a cup of coffee. So if you guys want to drink your coffee, and you can join me. Mm. Let me look here. Yeah. Crystal Jean says 2020 caused extra bad hormones. Yes. And, we have been going through this up and down quite a lot. And there's a lot of hatred out there, you guys. And my suggestion is don't buy into the hatred. Don't buy into it. Um, Even labeling other people as hateful, like, don't buy into that. Because, you guys, we have more in common with people we think are on the other side, right? Who are think differently than us, or who, whatever it might be, you feel like they're your opposition. You actually have more in common with them than you realize. You have more in common with them because you both desire love, you both desire comfort, you both desire safety, you both actually care about people. Now, the way you care about people may look different, right? What's important to them may not be important to you, and what's important to you may not be important to them. That's fine. That's okay. But you can still love each other. You can still care about one another. You can still create a safe place for each other. So, you guys, don't buy into the hatred. And I've gotten to the point now where it's so much bigger than we are. It's so much bigger. The evil that is out there is huge, so much bigger than us. But the good that's out there is also huge, and actually even bigger than the evil that is out there, you guys. So, what's good is even stronger and bigger than what is evil. But it's really hard to see the good when we're focused on hatred, when we're focused on hating one another. So let's try not to do that, right? We can go into that some more in our discussions. Miss Crystal, wait, hold on. Clifford, good to see you. Jihad, good to see you. Clifford says, I am sure you are an empath. Are you talking to me or to somebody here? But yeah, you know, most people are empathetic, okay? And I'm glad you brought that up, because being an empath is another reason that the new supply stays with the narcissist, stays, I don't want to say maybe addicted. First, it starts off as an addiction, but then even stay, they stay even when it has nothing to do with addiction anymore. When the narcissist comes home and they cringe, right? The hormones that are produced are the, what is it, fight or flight hormones, cortisol. It's the, instead of feeling the oxytocin or the, um, what's the other one? Endorphins or the serotonin or dopamine, instead of producing those hormones, the new supply instead is producing cortisol when they see the narcissist, and they want to run, they want to fight, they want to escape, but they don't. And they don't because of the empath, right? The empathic side. They feel bad for the narcissist. They feel like they owe the narcissist something. They see the narcissist as human. They realize that this narcissist is, you know, is a person just like they're a person. So they feel like they can't hurt the narcissist the way they've been hurt. So they end up staying. And we're going to go into a story about that, by the way. Um, a woman was telling me recently about her ex-husband. Actually, I'll just jump into it right now rather than putting it down, pushing it off down the road. So a friend of mine, was telling me about her ex-narcissistic husband, who was very controlling and abusive. She even told us about how he choked her. Like, he full on, that, to me, I'm like, what the heck? No one puts their hands on anybody's neck. There is no reason for that. Holy cow. So, you guys, she was talking about her ex-husband, and she, the abuse, some of the abuse that she had gone through. She didn't go into great detail because I think it's not something you really want to talk about. But she did give us a little insight into this guy. Very controlling, very abusive, verbally, and also sometimes physically. Now, the sometimes physically, just because it's sometimes doesn't mean it's okay. You guys, has he gotten help for it? No. Has he changed that response? No. Has he learned how to not behave that way? No. So to me, the sometimes, just because it doesn't happen all the time or every time, doesn't mean he's not abusive. He's still abusive. He's still capable, and you never know when that's going to come out. And that's what she lived with. Anyway, when they got divorced, he hoovered her back, you guys. So she did marry him twice, and she realized how damaging that was, and how deluded she was to think that he had changed and things were going to be different. Just like all of us have experienced, if you've gone back to the narcissist, it doesn't change. It doesn't get different. It doesn't become different, because they will hoover you back with all kinds of promises. And these new promises are going to be even more convincing. They're going to be, they'll even be willing to sign a contract, right? They'll even write up on a piece of paper some bizarre contract that, and with their promises and how they're going to change, and they're going to sign it, and they'll tell you, look, we'll get our friends to witness this. And to them, it is still not binding, you guys. Any contract or any agreement they make is never binding. The only binding agreements for them is when you say you're going to do something. So they will hold you to all of your promises, but when they make a promise, to them it's not binding, because to them it's what is it? Depends on the situation. It's circumstantial. So only if you fulfill all these things, then I'm bound to what I promised you. And since you're not fulfilling, making my life beautiful and wonderful, and lifting me up at all times and serving me at all times, then what I promised to you is no longer binding. That's the way they see it. But if you make a promise to them, then they're going to say, oh, well, if you love me, you would forgive me. If you love me, you wouldn't hold me to that. If you love, so you cannot have a contract with a narcissist. When they are hoovering you back in for the second, third, fourth time in a row, each time their promises are going to skyrocket. That's how they get you back. But here's the other thing. So she's talking about her husband, and he's moved on. He's married a woman who's half his age, or she was half his age. Now, I don't know. But I guess he was in his 50s and she was in her 20s, you guys. And now he's in his 70s. How does this work? Let me think if this is right. Yeah, now he's in his 70s and he has 7 children. Or maybe he was in his 60s and she was in her 20s. Because, yeah, anyway, it turns out he has 7 children. Holy schmoly. Something like, I think she said they were from between the ages of 2 to 12. And another reason that the new supply stays with the narcissist, this is a great example of this, is when they become completely dependent on the narcissist. So here she is. She has 7 children with the narcissist, this old guy. She's a young woman, probably, could definitely get somebody better than a 70-year-old dude. And she's staying with him because she's got 7 children with him. Like, how does a woman walk away from that? How does a man walk away from that, right? So once you build these ties with the narcissist, once the new supply builds these ties with the narcissist, it may not be an addiction to the narcissist anymore that keeps them there. It may not be these hormones that are elicited when the narcissist is around. In fact, like I said earlier, the hormone instead, the good hormones, are replaced instead by the fight or flight hormone, cortisol. These good hormones are then replaced with I got to get out of here, I got to escape. But the empathy for the narcissist and possibly for the children makes them stay, right? They're concerned for the safety of their children. They want to provide as stable a home, or at least intact a home, as they can for the children. They know that if they try to get away from the narcissist may use the children, right, in their divorce, in their separation, in their fight. So they don't want to put the children through this. And as an empath, they will then bow to whatever the narcissist wants. And a lot of times that is what's really going on between the narcissist and the new supply. Like some of us will look back and go, but look, they're still together and they have children together and they have a new home together. What that tells me is okay, they're still together. First of all, it's the broken ego, it's the brokenness. The narcissist has broken down the supply to the point where they have no self-esteem and they don't feel like they can make it on their own. Second thing I see, they have children together. Now the new supply feels like they're trapped. They're a voluntary prisoner to stay for the sake of the other prisoners, right? To keep the children safe. Third thing I see, they bought a new home together. Now they are financially tied to the narcissist. Like detangling themselves from the narcissist is going to require lawyers, the legal, aspect of it, and they don't want to deal with that. Oh my gosh, you guys, there's this just reminds me also of people who stay together with the narcissist even in their old age, and we will see that as well. Like I've told you guys about an uncle of mine who married someone. Let me think how long they've been married now. Probably, I want to say 8 years, maybe 10 years. And this second wife of his, we all know that he is abusive with her. We all know he's physically, mentally, emotionally abusive with her. He's a disaster. This guy is a total disaster. He is the walking poster boy of narcissistic abuse. Um, he's, what is he in now? He's in his 70s and mid 70s, I suppose. And he still thinks he's hot stuff, man. Oh my gosh. He will still strut around the neighborhood. I'm talking about a nice neighborhood too, by the way. He will still strut around the neighborhood in his, I hate to call it this, but the wife beater t-shirt thing. It's those spaghetti, not spaghetti strap, but the strappy shirts that are about an inch wide for the strap. It's not a t-shirt because it has no sleeves. So he'll walk around those things in that and in the neighborhood. Like just strutting around, like, look at me, look at my hot bod. And I'm sure, like, his face, he doesn't realize, like, his face is no longer good looking. Like, he might have been a handsome man in his youth, but now he's just this wrinkly old prune. He doesn't realize this, but he'll work out. So he has some muscles, right? So he thinks he's hot. And he will still strut around. So there's the narcissistic, I'm hot part of it. But then he's also has no self esteem. You can tell. He has no real self esteem. It's all fake. It's all built on fraud, right? His self esteem. So he needs constant affirmation. He needs his second wife to continually tell him how wonderful, how handsome, how hot, how amazing, whatever he needs. And yet, at the same time, he has no respect for her. He has no respect for her. He will cut her down the moment, throughout the day. Like anytime he feels bad, he'll cut her down. He doesn't care. He doesn't care about her feelings. This is a total narcissist. And we will see them in their old age. Now they're not tied by children anymore, right? The new supply is not tied to him because of children. But however, I think she is tied to him financially. And I would wonder what would happen if she ever financially became independent. Would she stay with him? I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure she would. But some people will. Some people will stay with a narcissist at the end of the game, at the end of life. And I'll tell you why. Because they're waiting them out. They know that if they stay, possibly another 5 years, they stand to inherit from the narcissist. They stand to inherit something, their estate, their social security, something. They will inherit that financial stability, the house. They might inherit whatever from the narcissist. And that's why they stay. They're like, well, I've been with them for the last 10 years and I'll wait out another 5. And some people will have been with a narcissist for 30 years and think, you know what, it's too late for me to start over. I'll just wait out until the other person dies. And I have seen those relationships as well, where they're sleeping in separate rooms, they're barely interacting, and yet they're waiting each other out. It's not good. So you guys, I want you to know that even though you see the new supply still with the narcissist, no matter what stage of the game they're in, it's still just a game. It's not reality. It's not a good relationship. It's a business contract that favors only the narcissist. Oh my gosh, you guys. The narcissist, yeah, do not ever get into any kind of contract with a narcissist because to them, they are always the winner. And if you should ever win, or if something should favor you in this contract, they will not have any of that. They will strike it from the contract. And this doesn't even have to be a real business contract, but this is the way they are. You guys, there's another thing I wanted to share with you today, a story. Oh my gosh, actually just read about it yesterday. It's so insane. Oh my gosh, I want to read through. Oh, Crystal is from Ontario. That's so cool. Philip, good to see you. I'm sorry, I'm just going to flip through some of these comments. Philip says, yes, she's talking facts. It is so true, you guys. I just want to help you guys come to this place where you produce uh, for yourself, right? What does it mean really to love yourself? And to love yourself actually means a lot of things, obviously. But in order to really do it, that's going to stick, is when you're able to produce these love hormones, these comfort hormones, these safety and trust hormones based on reality. And that is where you are really going to be able to build a good life for yourself. Well, you guys, hold on, you guys. Dangerous conversations. Good to see you. I guess I missed something. Let me see. I just missed it. Okay, I don't know where it is anymore. Oh, oh, I don't know how to say your name. I, Aelia? I'm gonna say maybe that's how you say your name. Good to see you here. Says, but it seems so real. Could it be that they are in love and I was the problem? Ayala Merritt, I want to tell you, you know what? Don't I don't want us to get to the point where we think that we're infallible, okay? I don't want us to think like, oh, it's never us, it's always them. Then we become like the narcissist. We always have to check ourselves. And maybe I haven't said that enough lately because we've been beaten down long enough for so much that I don't want you to be beating yourself down anymore. But we do want to take a good hard look at ourselves, but not comparing ourselves to the narcissist. You don't want to compare yourself to the new supply. What you want to do is compare yourself to yourself. Like, are you where you want to be? Are you reacting to things the way you want to be reacting to them? Or are they in control of you? Like, are situations in control or circumstances in control of you? Or are you in control of the circumstance? So, yes, we always have things we need to work on because we're not perfect and we're not going to ever be perfect. But don't compare yourself to somebody else in order to become like them because you don't really know who they are. You don't know what their struggles are. You don't know even how they're coping with what they're doing, how they're coping in order to look like they're doing well. But you certainly don't want to create or make yourself chase after them or chase after what you think is their perfection. And it's not. What you have to do is just introspect. Look at yourself. Look at how your response and your behavior in the relationship. And maybe make a list of that, maybe not a list, actually a journal. You may want to journal that. Situations that you went through with the narcissist, how they behaved, but then also how you behaved. And I give people this exercise to do. The reality, the best way for you to stay in reality while looking back at those situations is not to look at yourself as the main character. Okay, you're going to look back at your relationship with a narcissist, and it's like a movie, right? And you're going to see you and yourself as the main characters or co supporting actor and supporting actress, right? You're What you want to do is you don't put yourself in there as the main character. You look at yourself as a friend. You replaced yourself with a friend or somebody you love, but that person that you love is going to do exactly all the things that you did. Now you have to look back and say, how do I think that person should have reacted? How do I think that person, did that person have a right to stand up for themselves? Did that person have a right to get angry when they were cheated on? Did that person, yeah, that person didn't do all these right things. So what would I tell that person how to fix that? How would I advise that person to handle that type of situation? Those are the things that you need to learn for yourself, right? I mean, I hope this even makes sense. I know it's a little bit twisty, but what we end up doing when we look back at our past and we look back at ourselves in our past is we start to beat ourselves up. We start to, give excuses for the narcissist, and then see that we were completely wrong, and oh yeah, I can see how I triggered the narcissist to be angry, and it was my fault that I forgot this, or it was my fault that I didn't make the meal exactly the way the narcissist wanted me to. It was my fault that the narcissist got into an accident because I was talking to them while they were driving. But if you look back and you replace your character, you, with someone you love, but doing exactly the same thing you did, you're not going to say, "Oh, my best friend here was a jerk for forgetting. My best friend was at fault for talking to the narcissist and making the narcissist, get into an accident. My friend was wrong and deserved the abuse because they didn't put enough salt, on the steak." Like, what the heck? You wouldn't do that, right? So this is a better way to see and identify in yourself the real things that you want to change. And when you look back, you're going to see, like, wow, no, I would want my friend to stand up for themselves. I would want my friend to know that they didn't deserve that abuse. And that's what you need to want for yourself. That's where you want to start building for yourself, that your self-esteem, your rights as a person in a relationship, and even your faults. Like, oh my gosh, I did forget that. I should have written it on the calendar, and I should have put it on my phone. So what do? Write it on the calendar, put it on your phone. So there are accurate things for you to criticize yourself about, but then there are inaccurate things that you're criticizing yourself for. And you want to go back when you review who you were in that relationship. You want to do it in a way that's going to be unbiased. And what I mean by unbiased is not negatively biased against you, because empaths tend to be negatively biased against ourselves. We're going to see that we were wrong most of the time, that we deserved being treated badly, because this is what the narcissist has drilled into us. The narcissist will drill into us that we don't deserve any better than this because we're the problem. So when you look back, you have to look back as if the person playing your role is someone you love, someone else, if you have to do that, right? Because again, this is part of loving yourself, right? You need to take care of yourself the way you would want to take care of someone you love. All right, you guys? Okay, so I kind of went on to that for a little bit. Yeah, Crystal's true. Says, look into HSP, highly sensitive person, if you haven't. Most people who identify as empaths are actually highly sensitive. Yep, I would agree with that. Yeah, I wouldn't call myself just an empath. And by the way, I think everybody can be empathic, or most people. Narcissists, psychopaths, sociopaths are not empathic, you guys. But most people have the ability for empathy. Yeah. Some are just better at it than others. Crystal says, my ex's father, also a narc, is 72 and still thinks he's hot stuff too. Guess it's just me commenting. Oh, yeah, Crystal Jean. Wow, you're on here. Uh, oh, you know what? Let me do this. My chat. I don't know why. Sometimes I have my chat thing turned in a weird way. Yeah. Well, you guys, let me. What was I going to share? Oh my gosh, yes. This is the story that I read yesterday. So I want to share this with you because to me, it just exemplified how the narcissist thinks. And not just a narcissist, these are sociopaths, by the way. As we know, sociopaths and psychopaths are all narcissistic. Like they only see from their perspective, they don't see their victim as a real person. And they don't see that their victim has the same feelings that they do or has the same worth as they do. It's so, so sickening. So, yesterday I was reading this story how two sanitation workers or garbage men, right? Um, they go on their route, their normal route, and it was on Monday morning at like, I want to say, what did they say what time it was? It was just super early in the morning, like 5 a.m. or something like that, 3 a.m. I can't remember what the story had said. These two guys, thank God for them, were on their route and they saw this car in the middle of a field. And they're like, why the heck is a car in the middle of a field? There's no, that does not look right ever, you guys, right? And the only time you ever hear about that is in crime stories, by the way. So they pull up the truck, the garbage truck, and block, I guess, the path or the road out of the field. And so the driver of the car could not get out. And they called 911. They called the police. The police came. And what the driver of the car had done was abducted a 10-year-old. Yes. And was, committing the crime in the car. And the driver comes out and says to the garbage men, the sanitation workers, why are you doing this to me? Blocking him in. Like, he was, playing this victim as if they are doing something to him that was hurting him. And he did not think at all about what he was doing to the 10-year-old. So, you guys, this is the psychosis we are dealing with when you're dealing with a narcissist. They do not see their victims as real people. They see their victims as things that they are entitled to use. And it is disgusting and scary and creepy, you guys. So, this is why I do this channel. I want you to be pulled away from that. See that you were a victim. They will blame you for doing things to them, for making life hard on them, and without even a thought of how they are abusive, how they are controlling, how they are imprisoning their victims. They are not even aware of that. They are so self-centered, that they cannot see that other people exist outside of them, other than for them to use those people. You guys, that is, I'd like to say that's the extreme narcissist, but I think all narcissists think along those ways, those terms. They think that way. They're not empathic. They don't think about how do you feel when I'm doing something bad to you. They're only thinking about when I'm doing something to you, and they're thinking it's not bad. Whatever they do, it's never bad. And then, but the way you react to me, that's bad. Because how dare you fight back? How dare you hurt me? How dare you stop me? And they don't see that you had any right to do that, to stop them. So, you guys, that is the psychosis of a narcissist that you need to wake up from. if you are still desiring the narcissist, now you may not have had the physical abuse from the narcissist. You probably have had the emotional and the psychological. Remember that they do not, even if they don't get physical with you, they do think about you as only a tool or a thing to be used. And remember at the beginning of this happy crappy hour, I was talking about people who are in love with being in love, and to stay away from that, because those people do not see the subject that they are supposedly in love with. They're not in love with the person. They're in love with being in love. And they'll admit it. They love being in love. And I'm like, what the heck? So essentially, you're just there for the ride. They love being in love, and being in love is like a roller coaster ride for them. And then they'll tell you, come on the ride with me. But then when I'm tired of you, get off. Get off this ride. And I'm going to invite somebody else on this ride with me because I enjoy the ride. And that's pretty much how the narcissist sees other people. They don't see other people as someone to come alongside, to share life with, to actually fall in love with, to care about and take care of. They don't see it that way. They just see like, okay, I got to maintain you. I got to take care of certain things so that you'll stay, but they are not doing it because they are in love with you. Well, you guys, let me see here. Frost is on. Hello, good to see you. And Obi-Wan, good to see you. Yeah. Yep. Obi brought, hold on, you guys. Obi brought up a good point as well, as he usually does. Says they're not addicted. They heard the smear campaign against you. Well, this is part of it. They do get addicted, just like we got addicted. But they also hear the smear campaign against you and want to prove to the narc they're better and can love better, not knowing what they're getting into. Yep, that also happens. That is part of the dance with the narcissist and the new supply. The triangulation, the narcissist wants to keep the new supply around, keep the and keep you kind of attached, and connected, so that they can triangulate you into convincing the narcissist. I'm sorry, convincing the new supply to do better, right? To up their game is horrible, and it's their way of manipulating. Frosted Best says, I got here at a perfect time, was looking through old narc messages with a friend, and she was cheating, and at the end of it, I'd be the one apologizing. Yes, it's crazy seeing how brainwashed. Yeah, how brainwashed you become. Yep. Yeah. Yep. Well, you guys did bring up a good point there, and that is, then how do we not want to get it? How do we change? And I talked about this earlier. If you guys are coming on now, I would suggest you come on, rewind this, go back, or rewind, I don't know, go back to the beginning and listen to how do you then um, change your response, your hormonal response. And this is visceral, you guys. This is down to the core of your chemistry, how you think, how you feel, how you react. It's your body reacting to the narcissist. You have to change that. And like John was saying, when he got a text or a call, I can't remember now, I think it was a call from his narcissistic ex, he actually cringed, right? But then he was also excited. And that is that hormonal response that you need to change. That excitement when you hear from the narcissist. Your response might be like in a split second, you have a split second of excitement, but then right away after that, you should feel like, oh no, this is terrible, or, the cringe. You should feel that, because that's the way your body needs to learn to react to hearing from the narcissist. And, someone was saying earlier how they it's harder for them to not hear from the narcissist than to hear from the narcissist, because they're still living in this fantasy that the narcissist was good and brought good things into their life and was a safe place to be. And because they've convinced themselves of this and continue to perpetuate those thoughts and those feelings for the narcissist, their body is going to continue to produce those connection hormones when they think about the narcissist. And if you keep doing that, it's like an addiction. That's why we're talking about addiction today. This is what happens with addictions. Your body starts to crave and produce these hormones that then make you crave or want the narcissist back. So we have to change that. You have to change your chemical response to the narcissist. And it's far more than just, well, just change your mind and you'll be fine. You have to be consistent at building truth into your life. And the truth, like I said, you can introduce it very easily with this list of cons. So when you hear from the narcissist, when you get a text from them, when their name pops up in your caller ID, instead of getting excited, you'll start to cringe. Instead of being, oh my gosh, it's them, because you're remembering, you're recalling from a time when you were in this fantasy with them. Instead of going back to that fantasy, you're going to be pulled immediately into reality, which is this list of the crud that they put you through, right? This list of stuff where they abandoned you and you didn't hear from them for a year and a half. They didn't care at all when someone important in your life passed away. They didn't even call you, even when you texted them to let them know that a parent passed away or something. This is them. This is who they are. And when you pull up that list and you review and you see that list every time their name pops up on your phone or in your email, you're going to start creating that hormonal response, which is the cortisol that goes, no, danger, get away. And it's going to happen more and more, by the way. You have to do this for yourself. You have to change your chemical response to the narcissist. And that is how you're going to be able to completely disconnect from them and actually stay in reality, where you're going to build yourself up. You're going to now be able to get stronger as a person. You're going to now be able to trust your own instinct, right? Your own perspective. Because you're going to go, oh, now I'm back in reality. Now I'm grounded in reality. And my body's going to respond in what's natural. Because when you've been with a narcissist for a long time, or even a few months, they will have elicited hormonal responses from your body that is unnatural. That is based on fake stuff, right? On lies. So instead of responding illegitimately to lies, you're going to respond appropriately and be able to identify lies. You're going to be able to discern lies from truth. This is how you pull your mind out of freaking Crazytown, you guys. And the funny, I guess, and it's kind of funny because it's somewhat amusing. Once you're out of Crazytown, like your mind is out of there, and you see the narcissist working the town, working the room, working the bar, whatever they're working, right? They're working the people around them. And you see the lies they're telling, you see their manipulations, and you watch the people around them fall for it. It's almost amusing because you're just like, wow, this is incredible. It's like you're watching some bizarre TV show. And that's what it looks like when you are out of Crazytown. You're going to be able to see this bizarre, crazy town that they've created for the others who are now becoming part of it, who are now getting trapped in it. And as you're standing apart from it, you have this stronger foundation. You don't have the hormonal response of trust or empathy even really for them anymore. I mean, you can be sympathetic. You can be like, oh, they're just broken people, and I'm not going to hate them, and that's good. Don't hate them, because hate is going to build other hormones that are deceiving too, by the way. So we don't want to go that route as well. Hate can build the hormone that produces fear, by the way, and we don't want that. Fear is very manipulative in our life. If you're driven by fear, you're not going to be able to discern right from wrong. You're not going to be able to discern reality from fantasy. So we don't want to go that route, and that's why I've also talked about don't hate. And earlier we were talking about this, that our response has to be maybe not necessarily like total embracing love, because you don't want to just love everybody, which is kind of weird, and trust everybody, but you want to be caring. Like you want to be not hateful of other people, even if they're different than you, even if they think and value things vastly different than you. Just realize like they are seeing only a certain way of life. So they cannot discern for themselves what they can't see what you see. So just give them some mercy, right? Give them some grace for that. So anyway, you guys kind of got off on that. So glad that you guys had come on today. Our hour is up. I'm going to give you a few minutes, and I'm going to read some of the comments that have been coming on. I'm going to give you a few minutes to tie up some of your comments and conversations. Let me see here. Yeah, I would agree with Jihad there. Says, Obi, how do you keep getting involved with narcs? If you meet someone and you notice they are a narc, you need to drop them. Yep, pretty much. I would agree with that. Staying involved with narcissists and continuing to keep company with narcissists will only pull you more and more into their world, and sadly sometimes makes you like them. So become like them. So we don't want that. We want to be pulled, and not pulled, but we want to choose the reality. We want to choose good people to fill our reality with. Oh, Obi. Oh, this is true, Obi. Yeah. Um, Crystal says, I feel sick to my stomach when I hear from my ex too, but now it's been a few months, so it's a new awful. Hard to explain. I don't want to hear from him, but it's causing a new anxiety. Oh, Crystal, I don't know if you've done this, but in the last, because of all the political junk going on in the world right now, that's how we started talking about hatred. There's a lot of hatred and bad spiritual stuff going on right now. So I sometimes wake up, actually, often have been, how would I put this? I'm not controlled by anxiety, but I have felt anxious. Okay. So there are times that I've woken up feeling anxious already, just like, because the first thought in my mind is, oh my gosh, these lies, this fraud, this, upheaval, a lot of hatred, a lot of negative things going on all around us. So what I do is I rebuke it. Just rebuke it, you guys. Say this out loud. I mean, I don't think it matters whether you believe in God or not. And I do. I believe in Jesus Christ, you guys. But in the Bible, it does say that Jesus rebukes these demons, right? And I do believe that there are spirits around this. There is a spiritual world. And I do believe that when anxiety hits you, and this could be fully in your head and just in your body, in your mind, but when you are in control of your mind, you are in control of your body, and you can say, I rebuke this anxiety in the name of Jesus Christ. Just do it, you guys. Just say it. I rebuke this. And even if you don't say in the name of Jesus Christ, I think it does leave you, because I have been doing this. Every time I feel anxiety start to well up in me, I rebuke it. I say, I reject it. I rebuke it. Get away from me. I do not accept this anxiety in the name of Jesus. And instantaneously, you guys, I want you to try this and let me know how it works for you. But instantaneously, for me and my friends who have done this, it releases us. It leaves and it is gone. So that is incredible. Now you want to then fill that empty void or your mind with good and positive things, not more negative things, right? So instead of feeling that now place where anxiety was with hate or fear, you want to fill it instead with love and truth and grace. So read something or listen to something that is uplifting or encouraging right away, and you will feel free. You will be good. Anyway, you guys, that is my advice to you. Or take a shower or do something positive that makes your body feel good, that makes your mind feel good. Walk out into the sunshine. So when you rebuke the spirit of anxiety, if you want to call it that, or if you rebuke the feeling of anxiety, just say it, Crystal. This is what I would suggest. Even right now, like, I rebuke anxiety in the name of Jesus. I You will be shocked at how quick it leaves. Yeah. 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 Obi says music helped, but these channels freed me. Good. I'm so glad. So, so glad. Yeah. What does this say? I don't understand, Alice. I think you made a typo, but he says, my narc says she lacks serotonin. I'm like, whatever you lack, you better get back. Yeah. Yeah. Jihad says, Crystal, when I didn't hear from her for about 3 months, it was the best time of my life. Then she started doing Skype calls for the kids a couple times a week. Yeah. Well, Lady Mark's good to see you. Says, I love that advice. Thank you for sharing that. Oh, talking about rebuking the anxiety. Yes, you guys do that. Just rebuke it. Say, I reject anxiety right now. And there's something in the spoken word, you guys. Not to say that if you are deaf or you sign, you can't do that. Sign it, think it in your mind. If you cannot speak it, think it in your mind. Like, say you're in a crowded place, right? Or, in a public place anyway, and you feel weird to say something out loud, just think it then. Think in your mind, I rebuke this in the name of Jesus, or I rebuke this, get away from me, I reject you. Okay? And name it. Like, I rebuke anger, I reject fear, I reject anxiety, whatever it might be, or jealousy. If you're starting to feel jealousy, and you got to be real, very real with yourself about this, by the way, because very few people will admit that they're jealous. Very few people will actually acknowledge that they struggle with jealousy. But jealousy is one of those things that will produce very toxic and destructive things, hormones in your body. And it keeps you from being in reality. It will keep you in this fake, horrible fantasy world, which is not a good fantasy at all. It's quite a miserable nightmare. Do not allow yourself to stay in jealousy, right? So reject it, rebuke it, say you do not agree with it, and then say instead, but I accept peace, I accept wholeness, I accept love from God. If you're a Christian and all that, I would, even if you're not a Christian, I would suggest that you do this. Accept love back in your life, and accept purity of mind and of body, and accept goodness, accept grace. I'm going to be merciful. Say things like this and call it into existence for yourself. Well, you guys, we are well over our hour, but I wanted to ask you guys to go ahead and give me a thumbs up, comment on the channel. I don't often go back to my other videos to to respond, but I will try to do that. My life is taking off. I'm doing a lot of other things right now, but I will try to comment on the other videos that I've done. But definitely, I do try to comment on the latest video. So if you want to leave a comment and want a response, I'm here. Do that. Also, if you would subscribe or share the video and watch a commercial once in a while, that would really help me. So many people have left YouTube, you guys. So views have gone down, and not just views, but I think views of commercials have gone down because people just don't want to deal with it anymore. But if you enjoy this content, if it has helped you in any way, it would really help me if you would watch at least 30 seconds of those really long commercials, or watch the short commercials through. So I appreciate that. You can also mute them. Just have it play in the background while you go to the bathroom, bathroom break commercials. So you guys, I would really appreciate that. Blessings to you, and I will see you next week.